For today's session, what we will first start off with is the graphical warehouse layout. How do we see it in the system? And from there onwards, we'll be moving to the inbound process, the outbound process, and also in terms of especially the inbound and the outbound process strategy setup, how the different strategies are being set. And from a warehouse perspective, how does it make the difference, how the sorting is being done, and all those things. Okay. So from an outbound perspective, you get some more flexibility in terms of setting up the strategies based on expiry dates. So you can decide all those things on goods receipt date. So how you want it to be customized. So all those things we will be seeing in today's session. Okay. And if time permits, then we will see some additional topics as well. Okay. So as of now, I was just comparing with what in terms of the number of hours and the topics that are being covered, we are completely on track. I think we are just a bit advanced as well. So what it helps us to do is that we can also cover some additional things. And as you guys must have noticed, I'm also, whatever is covered in your presentation, I'm giving also whatever, apart from that, whatever additional things from a project perspective, from a client perspective that can be coming to you in terms of questions and in terms of how we should deliver it, those things also I'm sharing it with you. So these are additional things, okay, along with all the different technical details like table names, function modules, and all those things that I'm sharing with you guys. Okay. So moving ahead now. So we'll go into the graphical warehouse layout. So the graphical warehouse layout is something again which is being used from a monitoring perspective. Okay, so you would see the configuration over here. So there's like, if you go inside, so you will find there is these are categories that are defined. Now, what are the categories? So if you see over here, the object, there's basically these are object categories, and the object categories have got their own descriptions. So based on your warehouse layout, whatever you want to define, physical bifurcations which are there in your warehouse, right? So you say you see a wall. So within a warehouse, there will be an office. So edges, conveyor segments, storage bins, shelf, resources, and handling units. So all these things you can define, because basically what we can use these things when we are setting up the layout of the warehouse. Okay. So after you define this, then you go inside GWL object. So the category of object basically is something which you can select over here. Okay, let me just do a blank run. So right now for this particular warehouse, there has not been any identifier and object category which has been maintained. This is something if you want to create a very detailed map of the warehouse. Okay. So first of all, why the graphical warehouse layout is, the question is why it is not being used so widely in warehouses. Okay, there are 2-3 things. Number one, now when you see how the graphical warehouse layout is being mapped, or what the system is expecting you to do, is to do the geo mapping. Okay, the geo mapping of each and every storage bin, and if you want to display the map accurately, it should be done in a very accurate basis. So that itself is a very expensive exercise. Are you guys aware what is a geo mapping? Okay, so what does geo mapping do? It basically has the coordinates, your latitude, longitude, and as you guys are aware, when you are mapping the latitude, longitude, you have to be very, very precise and accurate. So you just simply cannot go and stand there with a compass and say, oh, this is 90 degrees east, then 42-degree west, 90-degree north. Not like this. You cannot do it like that. So you need to either hire someone who specializes in this kind of a thing. So that's again an external vendor coming in and doing the geo mapping and geocoding for you. So once that is being done, only then you can give the precise locations of your storage bins. Okay. Otherwise, there's no point in just blindly setting up something and then defining it. Okay. So I've seen organizations who actually do investments in these geocoding and geo mapping, and then they create their graphical warehouse layout. Now, in warehouses where they are using automated storage and retrieval systems. Okay. So what is an automated storage and retrieval system? So the automated storage and retrieval system basically is something where there is minimized human resources involvement, and the picking and the put away is happening through the different robotic hands which will be there. And these robotic hands, from an EWM or system terminology or a WMS terminology, not only EWM, are called PLCs, programmable logical controllers. So this programmable logical controllers basically worked based on the instruction that is being sent. What is an instruction? A warehouse task is an instruction that go and pick a particular material from this particular storage bin. So that's an instruction which the PLC will get. Okay. I will not go into details how the communication happens and all those things. I'll be covering that topic when we are touching the MFS part. Okay, EWM MFS part. So the thing is that now when that execution happens, when the command goes to the PLC, so what happens is the PLC gets the instruction. Now, if it's a conveyor belt system, so there will be automatically the conveyor belt will start running, and it will be sending empty shells towards the picking area. And from there, inside over there at the picking area, there will be another robotic hand, set of robotic hands. So from this robotic hand, it will get another instruction, and that robotic hand will then pick up the carton or the pallet and put it on that shelf or tray. And then the conveyor belt will come towards the packing area or the goods issue area, or however is the setup of the warehouse. Now you see this is a very automated and complicated system. Now, generally, there are two, so that whole hardware system. So how do warehouses implement this? So whoever is implementing the hardware, they also have their own software. Okay. Suppose there are a lot of Korean companies in the market doing this, Japanese companies as well. So whichever is the company doing, the client has given the contract to, so they will be implementing the hardware, and then they have their own software as well. Now EWM needs to talk with this software. Okay, so when they have their software, so they already have this graphical warehouse layout within their own map, because they need to identify, and in the when the goods will be moved from one section to other, suppose over here, suppose it is moving from this packing work center, and let's assume that these are all automated and not forklifts. Okay, let us assume that this is going from here to here through conveyor belt and instead of forklift. So this entire movement will be seen in the screen virtually. Okay, so those mappings are already done. So in those cases, you don't need the EWM graphical warehouse layout, because those are more advanced graphical warehouse layouts. Okay, what you see in EWM is a very basic 2D diagram, and as I mentioned, that you need to do precise, accurate geo mapping to make sure that the layout is drawn in a proper manner, and it is shown in a proper manner to you. Okay, so if you go now, let's go to the transaction. So the transaction is SCWM/GWL. Okay, this is provided in your materials as well. So /n/SCWM/GWL is the transaction. And over here you see this big brown chunk that you see. It's nothing but I just maintained the coordinates for 2 storage bins just to give you guys an example. So therefore it is coming up like this. So you can zoom out, you can use this feature, and then it will be shown like this over here to you. Okay, so if you double click on the bin structure, now both of these are within the same geo mapping codes, just 1 degree here and there. Okay, so there are 2 bins over here. So one is this one. So if you click over here, it will give you the storage bin number, the storage bin type, XYZ coordinate. Okay, similarly, if you double click over here, you will see there's just different storage bin number. This is the one ending with 04, and over here this is the one ending with 05. Now this X, Y, and Z coordinate is maintained where? It is maintained within the bin master. So when you're creating or uploading the storage bins, at that point in time, you need to make sure, if you want to use this functionality, the XYZ coordinates are also maintained and then uploaded, so that you can see the diagram exactly like this. Okay, say for example, LS03. So over here, you see on the right side, just follow my cursor. So I'm highlighting it. So you can see the X, Y, and Z coordinates are there. Okay, so if you go to change option over here, so you see these fields open up, right? So this is something that you can maintain. Now I have not done a full upload of all the bins and everything, because for that I need to make some proper planning and see that, okay, so this is where this area will be, this is where this area will be, and accordingly I need to do the mappings. So I would suggest you guys just understand the concept, because this is something which is not widely used by clients. But if you are offering this to your clients, then as I mentioned, it has to be as per the layout of that particular warehouse. Okay. And then you need to map the XYZ coordinates over here, if you see. And these XYZ coordinates also then will be, the graphical warehouse layout that you see is based on that. So that this whole map that you see over here is X into Y into Z. Okay. So the coordinate that I have provided is based on this coordinate. For this particular map, to give you guys the figure. Okay. So you can experiment it with it. You can play around with it. It's up to you how you guys want to do it. But I would suggest, since you guys are already involved in projects and you guys have limited time, if this is not, try to not spend too much time into this graphical warehouse layout. Just understand where exactly you need to configure and where exactly you need to maintain the master data. That's it. Okay. Because all these data you cannot provide. This is something which will be provided intricately by the client. You cannot manage this by, as I mentioned, by having a compass in your hand or in your phone. Okay. So similarly, when it comes to the storage bin type, so let me just quickly go over there as well. Bin type table is 303. Let me see. Yes. So over here you can see the bin type mapping is there, and over here within the bin type you can also maintain maximum weight, maximum volume, maximum capacity, length, width, and height. Now all these things can be used from a capacity maintenance perspective as well. So if you want to constrict a particular storage bin, that means you want the system to check whether what is the maximum capacity that you can store in a particular bin in terms of weight, in terms of volume, you can maintain it over here. And if you use this bin type, automatically what will happen is this maximum weight and volume will populate over here if you use the bin type over here. Suppose I'm creating a bin and I'm selecting YNGB. Okay. So YNGB, let us go inside and see this one. So you see there is a maximum weight of 1000 kilograms, right? So 1000 kilograms, if you see, that is the maximum weight which has come up over here directly because I've used the storage bin type YNGB. Okay. So similarly, the dimensions are also being mentioned over here. 1:3:2, so that the system will consider when it's doing a capacity check, it is going to consider all those things. Okay. So currently out of 1000 kilograms, 915, the weight used is 915, as you can see. Okay. So we have got just remaining capacity of, that means 85 kilograms. Okay. So 92% has been utilized of this weight. And to activate this capacity check, there is a control in the storage type level. Okay, so we will quickly go and check that. So you can see within put away control, there is this capacity check option over here. So over here, if you just go inside, so if you maintain it blank, there is no going to be no capacity check. If you're going to if you maintain it one, it is going to be maintained against key figure of product. So whatever volume, so there are different options of doing the capacity check basically. Okay. So you can do it based on the product or the material. You can do it based on the packaging material. You can do based on both product and packaging material, and you can check it against weight and volume. So all these things you can do. So you can see over here the capacity check has been maintained based on weight and volume, and so this is going to, they have maintained it as 4. So it depends on how you want to set it up. So there are different options provided by SAP, and accordingly you can do the capacity check. Now for bulk structures, today we are going to see all those things. So for bulk structures, the capacity is maintained in a different way. The system does the capacity check during put away in a different way. Okay, so we are going to see how exactly it is being done and how exactly it is being mapped. So the next topic that we are going to move into is the goods receipt process. In the goods receipt process, we have already covered the availability group, how the availability group is associated with your stock type, and how in turn the availability group is mapped to the storage type as well, and how in turn is the availability group is also linked to the ECC storage location. So that configuration is, I will just quickly take you to check that configuration. So I'll open the view directly. Okay, so over here, if you see the plant, the ECC plant, the storage location is mapped to the availability group 001 for the warehouse 1710, right? And this availability group in turn, if I go back, is mapped to a particular stock type, right? So 001 availability group is mapped to which stock type? So let's quickly check that. So over here you see it is mapped to all these stock types. So now over here within the configuration, it's a bit difficult for us to see. So what I do again, my favorite is go to the table. Let me see whether it's over here. No, it's not this one, it's DCAT. Okay. So just push in the warehouse number, okay? And then if you want to see how many stock types are mapped to your availability group 001, right? So these are the 4 stock types which are mapped to the availability group 001, B5, F1, Q3, and S5. So B5 is blocked in put away, okay? Then F1 is goods received, but this is again, FF is the unrestricted stock type, BB is a block stock type, QQ is a quality stock type, and this again is a block stock type. So there is no description provided for this particular stock type, but in general, you would see that we do maintain the descriptions of stock types. So I'm not so sure why they have not maintained it over here. This warehouse has not been constructed by me, but if we check for, say, for example, the 0001 warehouse, you will see all the descriptions. Okay, so for this one also the description is not being maintained. Okay, since we're talking about description, let me ask you a trivia question. So you see this table structure over here, right? So you can see this table has this description, right? So is this description a part of this table? This description of stock type that you see? Is this key a part of this table or it's not a part of this table? So you're saying, no, I mean, what I'm trying to ask, okay, let me rephrase my question. So this is a table you can see, right? SCWM TCAT. So this particular field is a part of this table or not? Description of stock type. It is not a part of the table. So it is a part of which table then? In SAP somewhere it will be stored, right? It must be stored in a database table. So it's a part of which table then? How can I find it out? Wait, so what I'll do is I'll try to quickly explain to you how the configuration views and tables work in SAP. That's just a quick explanation, okay? I'll not go deep into it, but for everyone's understanding. So first of all, whenever you go inside a table, so whenever you see this blue, can you see these 3 fields are blue, these 3 fields are green, and this one does not have any, the role and the description does not have any color. Why is it like that? Can anyone answer this question as well? So you're saying that this is a key and this is a key, is it? This green color is a key and this is a key. So the first 3 fields, so whenever you see those blue fields, right, these are key fields. So what do key fields mean is that there can be, these 3 fields can have only one single entry, okay? So Now, if you go inside SE11 for this particular table, you would see this is an indicator, this key field over here. Okay. So these indicators basically show that these three fields are key fields. So that's why it comes up in that blue color. So it's an identification. Okay. Now, you see that the description is not a part of over here. I cannot see the description anywhere in this table. So although I can see it over here in the view, but I cannot see it over here. Why is it so? Because the description, any table, any whatever field you are defining, the description generally in SAP is always contained within a text table, not in the parent table. Okay, so it's called a text table, which has the language and then the description. Because in every language, the description will be different, right? Because in Mandarin it will be different, in Spanish it will be different. It will be like that. So how you can go to the text table? The easiest way is to click on this. When you go inside SC11, click on go to, and then there's this text table option. So if you click over here, so you would find the text table over here for this table. So for this, you can see the table is tcat_txt. Now, if we think that every table will be _txt, it's not like that. I don't know what is the naming convention, but they have not made it uniform. For some tables, it is simply like tcat_t. So that is your text table. So some tables, it is just _txt. Now for S4 HANA matrix, if they have changed it to everything to txt, you guys can check that out. But for us, instead of remembering it like this, if you remember the parent table, you just go to and click on text table. You will find the associated text table over here. Now, why this is important? Now, this is important to know this because if you're writing an FS, and if your evaporator is suppose a junior guy, say for example, if he's a medium or a senior guy, he will know how to find all these things out. If he is a junior guy, and if you give him this, like suppose you're asking him to take the stock type and the availability group from fetch the stock type from this field and this field in the table from the table SCWM TCAT and the description from SCWM TCAT, then he will come back to you and say, sir, sorry, I cannot find the description in TCAT. Okay, but although this is basic for an evaporator, but I'm just telling you, you guys should also know it. Okay, so whenever we write FS, we are very particular, so we mention all these things as well. Okay, so now how does this description get linked over here in this table? It gets linked through views. Okay, it gets linked through views. So if you want to see the views, you can also see that. So if you just remove these in SE11 and click on views, how many views does this table have? Different views. So if you enter, so you'll find there are 2 views for this table: defined stock types and warehouse stock type. Okay, so the views in turn, what are the views actually? So if you see, let me just again go back, click on this where use list, this icon, and then remove everything. Click on views, enter. Now this view, if I go inside, you know what it will open? It will open the configuration node. So what it means is that all the configuration nodes that we see in SAP, these are all generated views of the transparent table. Remember that. Okay. So if you know the view, you can straight away jump into the configuration. So this is the configuration of stock type. So straight away, if I go inside the view, I can jump into the config because the config nodes are nothing but the views constructed for the transparent tables. Okay. Understood this concept, everyone? And this is immaterial. This is not only EWM relevant. This is across all modules. This is standard SAP architecture. Okay. So we see the availability group, how it is being used. We have already seen all these things. So we just did a quick revision. Now we'll again go back to goods receipt process. Availability group, we are not going to check it now. As we have seen, it is being mapped to the stock type. It's also mapped to our ECC storage location. Sorry, not the EWM storage location, ECC storage location. Okay. And it basically is the connection between the stock type and the storage location. Now, you must be wondering, why do we need to link the stock type and the storage location? The main reason behind that is in ECC, I don't have these defined elements of stock type. And in EWM, I don't have this defined element of storage location. So there should be a common linkage, which will associate both of these. Okay. The next thing is that if I am doing because in EWM, I don't do S-log to S-log transfer. We do stock type to stock type transfer. Okay. The meaning is that, let me quickly go back. So if you see over here, So 171D, this particular storage location, okay, is now mapped to the availability group 001, and 171S is mapped to 002. Now, if I want to do an S-log to S-log transfer, that means from 171D to 171S. So if I do it, if I trigger it from ECC, it's very simple, right? I just push in 411 movement, and then I put this S-log and this S-log. Source S-log, destination S-log, right? In EWM, we don't do that. We call this posting change. And in posting change, we do a stock type to stock type transfer. So this storage location 171D is mapped to availability group 001, and 171S is mapped to availability group 002. Now this availability group, please don't get confused because I am going to link now 2-3 different things. So this availability group again is linked with the stock types in EWM. Okay, so let us do a quick exercise. Let's see whether the system allows us to do that or not, and in return whether it triggers a movement type or not. Okay, so 171D is 001. So what I will do, so this is TCAT, right? So we go inside TCAT 171000001. Okay, so what we do is we will move from F1, okay, and then let's see what is mapped in 002. So we go to 002. Okay, so from F1 to F2, let's try to do that transfer. Okay, so in turn, my expectation is that the system should trigger a S-log to S-log transfer between 171D to 171S. Okay, so how do we do it? So what we will do, we'll go to the post transaction. So for this one, also there is a Fiori application for posting. The interface is same. So SAP standard Fiori applications, there is no much difference between whatever is provided over here and whatever is provided in your in your Fiori application in terms of the user interface. Okay, so it's the same button, same icon, same actions. There's not much difference until and unless you will create a completely custom Fiori application to make it more user friendly. Okay. So for this, what we need to know is we need to get some stock which is there in 171D, right? So to get that, I will quickly go to the table Aqua, SCWM Aqua. This is the available stock table in EWM. So this is the available stock table in EWM. I'll push the, okay, so let me just add the stock type. So this one is cat. So 1710. And then stock type, I will select this F1, right? So this is what I want. Okay, so we've got, so let's take something which doesn't have, so all these handling units have got open HU warehouse tasks, so I will not use them. So I will use one which are free. So this is something which I can use. So we'll take this, let's say this is the bin. And let us go into post transaction. Sorry, my bad. Go to storage bin. So what I'll do is I'll put a filter. So I'll keep it as blank. No open warehouse task exists. Now select equal to blank. Okay. So you've got this item, and let's see. Okay, so we can take this one. But this stock is actually within it's linked to a particular, but let's see whether the system allows me to do it or not, because it's showing in the gr bin grYDI1. So basically what it means is that it should be still linked to a, I've not checked the physical stock. So if I check the physical stock in EWM, it will show me the linkage, whether it is linked to any particular inbound delivery document or not. So let's see whether it allows me to do the change or not. Okay, so I'll just do a quick experiment. So I will just put in the posting change of total quantity. Warehouse process type, generally, when we are doing manual movements like this, we can use 9999 as well. So let's see whether 9999, so they have used Y999 over here, so which is basically a warehouse process type used for. So whenever you're creating this kind of a posting change in the backend, again, there is a warehouse task which is going to be triggered. Okay. So the warehouse task, basically now warehouse tasks generally are created so that an instruction is given to the warehouse operator to make some movements of the material. But these kind of warehouse tasks are also created, which are logical warehouse tasks, which are basically changing the stock type. So suppose the stock type is in quality, the quality inspection has been completed, and now the stock type is going to change. For that also, there is going to be a warehouse task which is going to be triggered. But that warehouse task, the operator is actually not going to make any movement from here to there. It's not necessary. It can be still lying in the same storage bin. Okay? But it is just a record in the backend that this movement has happened. Okay? Which in turn will create a material document in ECC as well to be posted. So the target stock type, this is F1. I will push it to F2. Let's see whether the system allows me to do it or not, because as I mentioned, it's in the GR zone. Okay, so the first thing that the system will stop me from doing is, because this F2 is in a different availability group, and this particular bin GRYDI1, so let's see whether any availability group is linked to it. If it is linked to it, then there is a problem. The system will not allow me to do it. So the first thing that I'll check is this bin is associated to which storage type. Okay, so I will just push in the bin number and check the storage type for this. So it is Y910. And against Y910, what I will check storage type, whether the availability group is mapped or not. If it is blank, that means I can push in any storage type, sorry, stock type. Okay, so I will push in over here the storage type, execute. I've already pushed in this table for you guys. I don't remember the first or the second session, but I've already shared these things with you in the chat, so you can check it. Okay, so we will quickly check for the availability group whether there is anything mapped. No. Good. So there's no availability group map over here, okay, against the storage type. So the system should not give me an error over here. So I have just maintained the values, and I will click on create plus save. So this is the warehouse task which has got generated. As I mentioned, there will be a warehouse task which will be created in the backend, which in turn will also trigger the material document in ECC. Okay, so I will just note down this warehouse task. So this one, okay, so this is, yeah, so this one is for the create and saving of warehouse request, and this is for the posting change. Okay, so what we can do is also we can, if we activate it, we can also do bin to bin transfers as well, and this one will give you the log as well. So this one is coming. This one is coming without any logs, if you see. So this one will come with the log as well over here. Yeah. So for the warehouse request, basically, as I said, you can do bin to bin transfers also using the same post transaction as well over here. Okay. You can make the changes in the bin as from the source bin to destination bin. Also, you can make the changes. Okay. So now, so the transaction has been successfully executed. So if I go and see the stock type over here, so that should be my, okay. Yes. So it has come to F2. As you can see, I had to do a hard refresh. I had to execute this button again, and then only it came up with the F2. Now the most important thing is whether the material document has got generated or not in ECC. Okay. So to check that, what we can do simply is obviously we can go and check an MMB, the stock. We did not check the stock earlier. So what I will do is I will see whether the queue has got generated for this material document or not. So in order to check that, what I can do is I can go straight cut into the table. So it's up to you. If you want to use MB51, you can do that as well. Okay. So you can go either into MB51 or you can go to MSEG as well. And over here, under fields for selection, you put it's XPLNR. No, there's no posting document. Wait a second. Oh, sorry, it's XPLNR underscore MKPF. My bad. XBLNR underscore MKPF. Yes, this is the field. Okay, and you put the warehouse task number, which got generated. Now remember, I will tell you one more thing. You cannot, this is not uniform. So every movement, the reference becomes different. For posting change documents, it is the warehouse task number. For deliveries, it's the delivery number against which the document, which is the reference for your posting, material document posting. It's not going to be your, this thing, what to say, the warehouse task number, okay? Because whenever you do post goods receipt and post goods issued, then also there would be a posting document, a material document which will get generated, right? Your goods issue material document and your goods receipt material document. So for that, the reference document number will be your inbound delivery and outbound delivery. It's not going to be a warehouse task number. Remember that. Only for posting changes, we can check like this. So you see, what I did was I just simply took that warehouse task number and I put it under this field, XBLNR underscore MKPF, okay, which is your reference document field. And then you just push in MKPF in the table MSEG, okay. And over here, if you execute it, you will get the material document number. And within the material document number, you will find all the details. You can see the movement type 411, as I was saying. So this 411 movement type has been triggered and the material document has been posted. And the storage location, the source storage location was 171D and the destination storage location is 171S. Why? Because we have changed the stock type from F1 to F2. Okay. And F1 was linked to a different availability group, which was linked to storage location 171D, and F2 was linked to 171S. Is it clear, guys? The concept, is it clear? Because I know when I say availability group is a linkage between stock type and storage location, initially it becomes a bit confusing. Is it clear now? Yes, no? For people who are new to EWM, especially?
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Good. So we go back to goods receipt now. So let's go back to mystery goods receipt. SAP Extended Warehouse Management, goods receipt process. We go to strategies first, okay? So now product put away profile is something which is a separate topic. I won't be covering it today. And it can be used when there is for a material. I'll just give an example. I've used it in one of my projects where a particular material, you need to, when you do the goods receiving, so you need to receive the product in a particular alternative unit of measurement. So I'm sure all of you are aware of what is an alternative unit of measurement. So you, from the list of alternative unit of measurements, you want to do the receiving in a particular alternative unit of measurement. And in that case, you will use the product put away profile. Okay, so I'll cover it in a separate topic. So I'll show it to you how to maintain it and where exactly within storage type control as well, you need to do the configuration. So today we will be starting off with storage type search and storage section search, put away rules. These are three most important things, okay? So when it comes to storage type search, basically what I'm going to design, I'm sure people who have worked in WM, you guys have the experience of defining this in WM as well, because similar search sequences you are maintaining in WM as well, right? So within WM also, whenever you are maintaining the sequences, it is based on what the business requires in terms of the put away. So say for example, now let's assume now these three racks are containing the same products. Instead of everything has slow, medium, and fast. Okay, so I will just copy this, paste it over here quickly so that it's not confusing for people. Okay, so everything is slow, medium, and fast. And what I want to ensure is whenever the forklift driver is coming over here to do the put away, so it should first hit which particular storage type. It should hit A1 HR, it should hit A2 HR, or A3 HR. Okay. Now, logically, obviously, it should come and try to do the put away first in this rack. Once this is filled, then it should come to this rack. And once this is done, it should come to this rack. Okay. And then all these things also depend on the put away rules as well. There's something called put away rules. Now, what is the put away rule? So the put away rule is basically whether I want to mix products, I want to add stock to an existing storage bin where already stock is there, or every time this forklift operator will come, he will search for an empty storage bin. Okay. So where exactly do I maintain the put away rules? So you will see it over here as well. Here also we'll do the mapping. Apart from here, where exactly are we maintaining it? Quick trivia question. Put away rules. People who have worked in EWM, kindly avoid giving the answer because you'll obviously know the answer. People who are new to EWM, I'll be expecting answers from them. Put away rules. In product master data, we maintain put away control indicator. That is different. We will see how it is linked, both put away control indicator and put away rule, how it is linked. We will see that. But put away rule, where are we maintaining it? Give some guess on answers as well. That's fine. Okay, so you define it within storage type. Okay, so within storage type over here, put away rules. Within put away control. So if you go inside, you will see we have covered this topic. So you will see this addition to existing stock or empty bin. Then as per consolidation group, as per general storage area, empty bin or transit warehousing. Okay. So these transit warehousing generally we use in cases sometimes for the 3PL warehouses as well, third-party logistic warehouses as well. So 3PL warehouses in India nowadays, it is coming up. I mean, when I say nowadays, in the last 10, 15 years, it has started coming up. So, and some of these warehouses, just to let you know, guys, they are also using EWM, SAP EWM, to manage their warehouse. So as these examples being provided by you guys, so it's basically these 3PL logistic warehouses will be sometimes what happens when what the company understands is that manufacturing their stock is manufacturing the product is different, but they don't want to take the cost of storing the materials. So the cost of the inventory storage is more than renting it out to the third-party logistic warehouses. When I say renting it out, basically, if they are leasing out the stock to them to do the storage. So if they do the cost comparison in certain countries, then it's better to provide it to the 3PL warehouses. Now you can see this more widely in, I mean, in India, it's a bit still on a, it's still developing. It's not like as big as what it is in Middle East as it is in Singapore. Okay, or even countries where they are doing a lot more of imports. The products they're importing from outside countries and then they are doing the storage as well. So in those cases, you'll find all these third-party logistic warehouses doing the operations of overall maintenance. Okay, so now when we say a 3PL warehouse, so the 3PL warehouse can be considered as a transit warehouse in our system, and also sometimes this transit warehouses, we can also define our staging area as a transit warehouse. Okay, so if you look into the documentation that is being provided by SAP over here, so these are the different options that are being provided to us. Okay, so for every option, the explanation is given over here. So if you see for the one for which Praveen had asked a question, okay, so this is basically related to the transit warehousing process. And over here, what it says is depending on the setup of the staging area and door determination group for outbound, not for the inbound part. We have already seen the one for the inbound part. So this is for the outbound part. So what basically does this mean? So it basically does a check whether in case of cross docking. So what is cross docking then? So I'll again explain it to you at a very high level. So what happens is that when in certain high demand cases, so whenever a product is in such a demand that the customer is already waiting at your door even before the item is being goods receipted. There are many products like that in many companies where there is no time for the warehouse to put away the goods in the final storage. There's no need of it only. Already the customer is waiting at the door. So much high demand of the product is there. So they are waiting, that product is manufactured and then you push it to the truck for the loading. So in that scenario, you will be using this put away rule. Okay. So it will be directly, so what it does is that it will check whether the system checks if the HU is assigned to an outbound process for which the TU is already active at the door. So the TU is basically your transportation unit. Okay. So it will go and check, I mean, from a cross-docking perspective, it will go and check whether the TU is already active, whether the truck has already arrived at the door. And the system determines the bin assigned to the door. So the door also, as I said, all these, if you see the diagram, now let's assume this is a goods issue area instead of a goods receipt zone. So over here, this is also a bin. So the door, against this door also, there will be a bin, basically, which will be assigned in the system. Okay. So it will be checking that, and then the system will try to put away in that particular staging area. And this is based on the staging area and door determination group master data. So if I click, I can click over here and go inside, but the transaction for this is STADET underscore out. So over here, whatever storage bin I have maintained, the system is, when it is trying to do the put away, it is going to check as per this particular master data that we maintain. Again, this is something I will explain to you when we are covering the outbound topic and we are creating the data. Then I will be referring to this, and you will see how that it's similar. The way the goods receipt zone, if you remember, when we saw for the staging door determination inbound, it was determining the goods receipt zone for the goods movement data. Similarly, for outbound also, we need to define the goods issue zone for the goods movement data for the outbound delivery. What the put away rule that is being maintained over there for transit warehousing, it will go and check as it is mentioned over here, whether the TU, the transportation unit, is already active at the door and the HU is assigned to an outbound process. That means through cross-docking perspective, basically. So if I go to explain the cross-docking now, then again, the entire session will be mixed up. So I'm not going to explain that in detail right now, the config for cross-docking, but I'm just giving you a simple example. That basically, suppose over here, let's assume this is the goods issue zone. And over here, you also have a truck waiting. Okay. And then instead of the forklift going till here, what it will do, so let's assume that this is a production area. So over here, production line 1. Okay. So let's assume this is a production area. The good is being manufactured. Okay. So the forklift will pick up the material from here, and now it has to understand, the system has to tell it where it has to go. It has to go here in the bulk storage area, it has to go here, or it has to go to any staging area. So when I use put away rule 6, it will go to the staging area. But before it goes over here, the system will do a check whether the transportation unit, this truck, is already over here in this particular door or not. So there is a door as well. I have not drawn it over here. So there's a door for the outbound part as well. So it will check that. So cross-docking is not necessarily that it has to happen through manufacturing line, right? It can be done on the scenario that you have just given an example. Like say, for example, I cannot take the name of the client right now. Extremely sorry for that. In one of the warehouses, which was a distribution center back in Chakan in Pune, in India, where I have done the implementation. So that was just a distribution center. So the goods were not coming in from a vendor, but it was an STO movement coming from a plant-to-plant transfer. Okay. So in that case, we had done this setup where the moment the goods come in from the plant, because it's a distribution center, it's not doing any manufacturing. It does not have this production line. Okay. So as you had explained, from the GR zone, directly it goes to the GI zone. So that is also one way of cross-docking only. Production related, or whether it is the example given by you, vendor incoming or through, because at the end of the day, even this is a GR zone. Yeah, so this is also a GR zone and this is also a GR zone. So now if we go back to the inbound part, so we go back again to goods receipt process. So over here, now we will again go back into strategies. So as I was explaining earlier, so the operator, sorry, the forklift driver has reached the GI zone. I need to send him back to the actual area. Okay, so from here, now the forklift driver, once he does the goods receipt, so he needs to understand now where next he needs to go to. He needs to go to packing work center. He needs to go to this place, this place, this place. Now let us assume that this is not there. Don't consider this packing work center right now. We will cover this kind of steps when we are doing process-oriented storage control. Okay, because the system automatically sends the driver through many different steps that it has to be done, completed before the final put away is done or the final resting place of the pallets. Okay, but let's assume that this is not there. And then from here, it's straight away trying to search whether it wants to go into A1 HR, A2 HR, or A3 HR. So in this case, what it will do, the system will ask us to do the configuration now. Because how will the system otherwise understand, right? So that is where we define the storage type search. So the storage type search can be done based on, you can do groupings also. So what I can do, I can make a group for A1 HR, A2 HR, and A3 HR as well, right? For these three storage types, I can define it in one storage type group. Okay, so it depends how I want to do it. If I've got huge number of storage types inside the warehouse, then I would definitely prefer, and I have done the storage type, I'm storing the goods in such a way that similar type of materials are being stored in those similar set of racks. Suppose these 3 racks, I'm only storing, let's say for example, if it's a food and beverage company, so I'm only storing baby food products in these 3 racks. Let's take an example. So what I can do, I can create a storage type group for these 3 racks because I'm storing similar kind of product groups in the 3 racks, right? And I can just define the storage type group first. And then after I define the storage type groups, I need to assign the storage types to the storage types groups, right? So this is something that I can do. And after this, what I need to do is define the strategy. Okay, so similarly, I can define a group for stock type. Similarly, I can define a group for process type as well. If I want to use stock type groups and process type groups. Okay, it depends. I've seen organizations using it. I've majority of the projects where I have worked in, they have not used groups for stock type and process type. Generally, yes, storage type groups are being used in large warehouses. Okay, when I say large warehouses, that means minimum more than 40,000 square feet, 50,000 square feet, like that. Okay. So now, when you go into the search sequence, so if you go in the first step, so the first step is defining of the storage type search sequence. So if you just go inside one, this is where you maintain it, the naming convention, and then the description. What kind of a search sequence is this? Okay, so if you see the description over here is bin determination in narrow aisle, YE01. Okay, so I was initially, I think in a couple of sessions we had discussed about very narrow aisle. Okay, so those, as I said, those racks are different, the resources being used are different. So in those cases, you will be definitely using the, you will be mentioning in within the storage type search sequence as well. Just to understand from whoever is doing the troubleshooting, from a troubleshooting perspective as well, yes, you have a different storage type search sequence, and within the storage type search sequence, you have those only specific very narrow aisle storage types mapped within it. Okay, so YE01, so let's take just one storage type search sequence and let's see the sequencing that is mapped within it. So YE01 is 1, and then, oh, sorry, I clicked on the documentation, my bad. And over here, 1710 YE01. Okay, so you see for YE01, there are 2 search sequences which are maintained. So the system is first trying to do the put away in storage type Y011. And then if it doesn't find anything under Y011, it will go into Y970. As I was giving an explanation, first it will try to search in A1HR and the bins within A1HR. If it doesn't find anything over here, it will go to A2HR. So once this is done, so the next step is definition of the put away control indicator. So the put away control indicator is something which we maintain within the product master. Okay. So this is over here just the definition, what exactly it is. So let us go into our warehouse. So over here you see the put away. Let's just go inside this. So this is the put away control indicator YQ01. And if you want to, because system gives you a flexibility, this put away control indicator by default, if you want it to only work for YE01 search sequence, which we had seen earlier, which had 2 storage types within it, you can do that. Okay. But if you don't maintain it, then you're flexible enough, you can use it for multiple storage type search sequences. We will see it in the next config now after this. So over here, you see it has been maintained as blank, but the system will allow me to maintain YE01 as well. Okay, if I want to. But in that case, I can only use YE01. So the system will do a standard check. Okay, with standard check, I remember one thing, another trivia question for you guys. So when I am doing any configuration in any module in SAP, so you guys can see that sometimes the system automatically will check and will tell you that this is, say for example, I'm entering the storage type search sequence YE01, right? So this storage type search sequence exists. Now let's see whether there is a check. If I put any random XYZ storage type search sequence, whether the system reads it or not. So the basic requirement is that the storage type search sequence should be defined within the warehouse, right? Let's see whether it has been defined or not. I mean, whether the check is activated or not for this. Okay, so I'll just put RON1, enter. Yes, the system does check. The system is checking what it is saying, that entry 1710 RON1 does not exist in SCWM T334 QSD. So T334 QSD is your definition table for storage type search sequence. So what it is saying is that this RON1 entry does not exist. It is doing a check. The trivia question is, how does the system know that this entry should exist in this? Quickly, I'm giving you 10 seconds. Anyone? Now this question is open for even the EWM consultants. So this is 305Q, right? Okay. So over here, where do I go to? This one, sequence. So this is where you can check. So you can see it is going and checking in over here, right? So this put sequence, it is going and checking over here. Very good. Okay, so this one is done when the table is being constructed, right? For you guys to get an easy reference, and I will tell you why, how it is easier for you. So you just go over here, okay? And then you enter this table name. Then you get this, okay? So you get your check table over here. So say, for example, tomorrow, you want to construct a completely new table. So your developer will be putting all these standard checks and all those things. But I had worked in one of the projects where we had created a rapid deployment tool for EWM. Okay, so it was an automated tool where the configuration happens automatically, and a lot of other things are also automated, including master data. So over there, there was also a T code which was created to upload config tables, like all the layout-oriented tables, like activity area, storage type, bin type, so all these tables you can actually upload. You can download the template and then do the upload. Okay. So when you upload it, what we did was we wrote the logic that it will go and check this DD03L against the data element, and it will check what is the key field that it needs to check. So the system used to, suppose if the user has created, because it was something that we provided to the super user. So if the user has created a storage section, say for example, which needs to be created within a storage type, that storage section does not exist itself. So the error will give you the exact error that this storage type search sequence does not exist in this table, and then the user will know, okay, so now I need to go and create it over there. because it's an automated tool, right? So it will, so you need to write the logic behind that. So therefore, if you know this, and this is standard across all SAP modules, it is not only for EWM. Now coming back, so this put away control indicator, where do we maintain it? As I said, we maintain it within the product master, okay? So here, the next step is to define the storage type search sequence, map the put away control indicator, map the warehouse process. You see there are so many put away search sequences mapped against the different permutation and combination. So the system gives you different permutation and combination. You can maintain it as per put away control. Then you can maintain it as per process type, warehouse process type. You can maintain it as per quantity classification. Okay. Then what is the next step? You can maintain as per stock type grouping. Then as per the, now this is something, if you ask me the stock type role, basically, whether it is sales order related, project related, all those things, if you want to map, you can do that as well. Party entitled to dispose, if any hazardous rating is being maintained, as per that you want to map the search sequence, because sometimes what happens, there are certain clients that I have worked for as well, where the hazardous ratings are different. And as per the different hazardous ratings, you have different areas in the warehouse. Okay. Like say, for example, now what does that control? A, it controls the resources, which resources are mapped to which hazardous areas, right? And then B, most important thing, it also, those areas, and from physical perspective, I'm talking first, that those hazardous areas will also require different equipments for the resources to wear and go inside. Different kinds of masks, different kinds of outwear and all those things, gloves and all those things, right? So as per the hazardous ratings, you can maintain those search sequences as well. So that the system, if the material is having this particular hazardous rating, immediately it will try to search, do the search sequence in that particular area of the warehouse. It will not try to do the put away in any other particular area. Okay. Quantity classification. So quantity classification is nothing but your, whether the quantity, now this is only two over here, cartons and pallets. So for quantity classification, we have cartons and pallets over here only, but it depends. If you can define your own quantity classifications, if you have carton quantity, pallet quantity, bottle quantity, as per the packagings that are there in your warehouse, you can define it accordingly. Because basically what it means is that if you want to push cartons in one area of the warehouse, if you want to put pallets in one area of the warehouse, so you can do the mapping accordingly. And you can define it over here, do the search sequence mapping. So the search sequence you see over here, what we were taking example was YE01, right? So T334Q is 1710, and our YE01. Okay, so for YE01, we have, so for this particular search sequence, these are the different combinations which are mapped. Okay, so if the put away control indicator is YQ01 and the quantity classification is P, then the search sequence will be YE01. So the system will go and check whether the put away for the particular product which is coming in, what put away control indicator it has, and if the quantity classification is P, it will try to go and search in the search sequence YE01. And as you remember, YE01 had two storage types within it. Okay. Similarly, this is a process type group. So if the system is determined process type Y113 and put away control indicator YQ01 and the quantity classification, then the search sequence is again YE01. So like this, you can do the mapping of all the different process against the different process types, against the different quantity classifications, then stock type groups, if you want to maintain hazardous ratings. So basically, which product you want to store in which section of the warehouse, you want the system to automatically determine it and tell the forklift operator that thing. So this is why you will be maintaining this particular search sequence and configuration in the system. Okay, it's as simple as that. So once you maintain this configuration, now the access strategy. So we saw in that table, so there are different combinations for YE01, right? One place where we have maintained the process type and the put away control indicator, then YE01. One place we have just maintained the put away control indicator and then the nothing else is maintained, and just the quantity classification, right? So you can maintain over here based on what the system will first try to determine the storage type search sequence. This is called the access for the storage type search sequence determination, right? So for 1710 warehouse, so first the system is going to look into these three combinations. Put away control indicator is there, process type is there, quantity classification is there. So if all the three combinations are maintained against a storage type search sequence, it will go and hit that storage type search sequence. Now, the next is put away control indicator and process type. Only if it finds combination for these two. If it doesn't find this three combination, it will hit this two. If it doesn't find this, it will go to just put away control indicator. If it doesn't find put away control indicator, it will go to process type only. So this is how it is being maintained. It is customizable, so you can activate the checkbox as in what you require. Okay. So this is, now I have also worked on projects where the search sequence configuration itself, which you see over here, sorry, my bad, specify storage type search sequence for put away. So we have put an additional field over here, but not in this config node. We create a Z config node. For the client, we will create a separate config node over here in SPRO. And then if you open it, and within that, we will put the Z config node of specify storage type search sequence for put away. But we'll not do any here and there with this particular config. This is the standard config node. This will remain as it is. If I want to put an additional field for the determination, I can do that as well. So it will first look over here if it is mapped. If it is not mapped over here, it will go and fetch it from here. If it is not mapped over here, it will hit the storage type put away rule. So that is the what to say, the chronology or the access strategy that it will follow. We'll go now to storage section search. So we've seen how the system does the storage type search. And now we'll go into storage section search. And over here, so basically what we have till now identified that the forklift operator will go to which particular. Now, if you see these are three storage types, it will go to A1 HR, A2 HR, and A3 HR. Now, within this, I've got further bifurcation of fast, medium, and slow. So now I want to also determine whether the forklift operator should go first to fast, to medium, to slow, all these things, right? So from this perspective, what I need to understand, what I need to make sure I need to configure in the system, the storage section search sequence. So I will define this as sections, fast, medium, and slow. So to define the storage sections, you saw that when we go to EWM master data, and with the next two storage types, there is storage sections. Okay, I've also given you guys the table for the storage section definition. If you want to quickly search for what are the storage types defined for a particular warehouse. Now, what we will do is that we will do the search configuration, storage section search configuration. So what we will do first is create storage section indicators. So this storage section indicators, so this is just the name and the description. So fast moving items and slow moving items, these are the storage section indicators that have been created. And if you quickly, I'll quickly open the product master for you. So this is also being maintained within the product master. So if we go inside to the warehouse data, scroll down to the put away control part, and if you can see, this is a slow moving item. Okay. So basically what will happen is that first it will try to go into YQ02, and within YQ02, it will try to go into the storage section, which is mapped within this particular storage section indicator. So this storage section indicator is YS02 mapped within the product master. Now let us quickly check. After creation of the storage section indicator, we need to maintain the storage section search sequence. So for the storage section search sequence 1710, storage section indicator is YQ01. Sorry, it was YQ01, YS01, YS02, sorry, my bad. So YS02, you see, this is the storage type. This is the storage section indicator, right? And this is the storage section sequence. Okay, search sequence. So over here, what has been maintained is just one. So there is no further search sequence within this. There is just one storage section mapped within this storage section. So obviously, since it is been classified as fast, medium, and slow, and your section indicator is also fast, medium, and slow, so you've just mapped the slow storage section to the slow storage section indicator. But if you have further classification of the slow, say for example, for baby products, like let's take an example of an organization like Johnson and Johnson, where they manufacture a lot of baby oil, baby soap, baby shampoo, right? So if you have a storage section for fast moving goods, let's assume these are fast moving goods, and you have section for fast baby shampoo, fast baby oil, and fast baby other products, say for example. So you can map it accordingly in the storage section indicator if you have just defined one storage section indicator. Maybe all these products are being stored in the same rack in just different sections. So you can do the section mapping for the subdivision of the section mappings, right? And then you will want the operator to go to those respective ones as well. So as per the different section indicators that you have mapped in the respective product masters. Also, you have this hazardous rating 1 and 2, for which also you can maintain the products. So now another important configuration which is not there in the storage type level, but this is there in the storage section level. So if this storage section determination is activated, only in that case, the storage system will try to do the storage section search. Otherwise, the system will not try to do the storage section search. Okay. So if you see over here for all these storage types, some of the storage types, the storage sections search is storage section determination, no check. So there are no storage determination, no storage section determination or check wherever it is maintained. So even though you maintain the storage section indicator, it will not try to identify the storage section. Then storage section determination and check. Storage section determination, no check. So basically this one, if you select this particular config, it will do the storage section determination and also check whether the storage section determination active where in the storage type level. So in the storage type level also there is a checkbox for storage section check. Okay, so let me quickly show you that. Yeah, so if you see this storage section check control over here, in the within put away control under storage type. So sometimes I actually wonder why SAP made this so complex. WM was much more simpler, I've heard. I mean, so I don't know. I mean, is it true WM is simpler than this one, right? Than the config in EWM? Good for us, it's not bad. But I mean, for everyone, including you and me. But I don't know why they made it so difficult for. Anyways, so you see the controls are over here as well, right? So you need to do the mapping of the controls over here as well. So if it is like check activated, then all those checks are going to happen. It is going to check the relevant, the other configuration check as well. And if it is no check, then it's not going to do the checking of the storage section. And the indicator, even though you have maintained at the product level the storage section indicator. Sometimes when you are working on it, when you're creating the data in the lower environments initially, you'll be having these kind of errors that it is not happening, system is not defined, not searching for the storage section while creating the put away tasks. So you will have to check all these different configurations, whether these are activated or not. Okay, only then it will work. Otherwise, it is not going to work. After doing this, so the storage section check is also, the indicators are defined. You have maintained the indicators in the product master. You have maintained the storage section search sequence, and you have activated the check. So this is done in terms of your storage type and storage section. Okay. Now, another important thing is your sorting. So now forklift driver now understands which storage type to take. He understands which storage section to go to, fast, medium, or slow. Now within these are storage types and storage sections, but he still does not know within this, which bin I need to go into, right? So because say, for example, this is slow 1, slow 2, slow 3, and slow 4. I mean, slow 3, suppose. So I don't know whether I want to need to go here, here, or here. So who will tell me this? So this will be based on the sort sequence. So if you remember, when we were covering the bin loading part, we were also covering the bin sort sequence part as well, right? So for the bin sort sequence, it will understand, okay, I need to go into this, this, and this. So whether I need to go to this bin, if it is, again, based on the put away rules, system will check whether it is only empty bin. So if slow 1 is not empty, it will go to slow 2. If slow 2 is not empty, it will go to slow 3. But it will follow the sequence. When it is searching for it, it will follow the sequence. Which sequence? This sequence. Let me show you. So I'll just straight away go to the table, LAGPS. So remember, it's LAGP is the bin master table, LAGPS is the bin sorting table. Okay. So 1710. Storage section is YS. Let's see. 02 and activities PTWY. So you can see for this particular bin, for the put away activity, okay, for this particular storage section. So this storage section has been determined. I mean, the system will understand that it needs to go to this section based on what? The section indicator which we maintain for this particular section in the configuration, right? So it will first go, it will go and see the sort sequence over here. So if I do an ascending sort over here, okay. So first it goes to bin 21010501. Then it goes to 010601, then 0701. You see the ascending order that is changing is this particular part after the decimal. Okay. So we will cover bin structure. So within bin structures, you will understand sometimes what these naming conventions mean. But generally, it is not, as I mentioned, it's not a hard and fast rule. I think someone had asked this question as well earlier. So you can define within your bin structure what is your, this number indicates this is your stacking level, this is your row level, this is your column level, whatever. Like this, you can identify as well. So that is when you are defining the bin structure. Okay. Or simply you can put it as per this layout as well. A1 HR001, A1 HR002. Simply you can do like that as well. But if you have multiple bins within this, like this kind of, within different stacks, within, I mean, in one single row itself, there are 5 different bins, say for example, then you will be creating these structures and then you'll be maintaining it like this. So you see the sort sequence over here, it goes to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like this. The increasing number is within the third decimal, if you see. Okay. And then after it reaches 20, then it again starts from 5. So from here, this is the level it goes to 0.2101.20.01, and then again it starts from 0, 05, 06, 7, 8, like this is going. So this is the sequence which has been defined, but again, this is not something that you need to follow. It's all depends on the layout of the bins, layout of the warehouse, and all those things. Okay, how the business wants to identify, how they were identifying it in their legacy system. If it's an existing warehouse, they must have had some legacy system, whether WM, if not WM, any other warehouse management system, whether in Oracle or whatever. So, and generally I've seen these things, they don't change. The naming conventions and all, they try to see that they can migrate into the same naming convention in EWM as well. But obviously, you will also recommend which is the best practice. Okay. So this is how the sorting happens. So based on that, the forklift driver will finally understand, oh, after so many searches, I need to finally come and push it over here. But obviously, the forklift driver himself is not doing the search. The system is creating the search for the forklift driver. Another important thing that again we will go to storage type control. I had told you when I had initially was explaining you the storage type control that will keep coming into these controls every now and then. Okay. So the storage type control, whether the system is going to, while creating the warehouse task, whether the system is going to do all this deep level of search is depending on this particular control. Remember it, WT generic. within put away control, WT generate. So this over here, we control whether the system, when creating the warehouse task, will be creating for till what level, till what search. Okay. Will it be searching storage type, storage section, and storage bin? If yes, you need to maintain it as blank. If you don't want the system to determine the storage bin, and I have worked on projects where actually they have done the configuration like that. The forklift driver reaches over here and then he decides, I will put it over here, here, or here. So what I have seen, at least from my experience, this is generally being used in bulk structures. So where you have a defined racking structure, then the system can actually determine the exact bin. That's fine. But when in case of a bulk structure, right? So it's like an open storage area, right? So it always, for the forklift driver, he or she is the person who will be determining where exactly I will put inside which particular bin. Now, say for example, this bin is like subdivided in this looks like this, say for example. Okay, this is a bin, this is a bin, this is a bin, this is a bin, like this. So this guy will come over here, and if I don't want to put the search sequence, then he will try to search which is the best way and which is the best bin that I need to push it into. So that is when I will be using this kind of a warehouse task creation a rule for the put away part. Okay. Now, apart from this, what's the next thing that I will be looking into is, if I don't want the system to determine the storage bin, storage type, storage section, if I don't want the system to determine even the storage section, I can only put it as storage type. So remember this control, this is at warehouse task generic level, this one. Okay. Now we know how the forklift driver understands where exactly, or how actually the system determines which particular bin the forklift driver should go to and do the put away. Now the next thing is we'll quickly cover the goods issue process from an outbound perspective. So from a put away rules perspective, we will first start off with bulk storage. Okay. So for bulk storage, for the first thing that we need to define this storage type control for bulk storage indicators, and then bulk storage structures. Okay. So if you open this one, storage type control for bulk storage. So this one, you have the storage type, which is defined as a bulk storage type. And these are two checkboxes which are there for partial quantity. Okay. And for put away blockage. So these are the two checkboxes which you can control from the storage type level over here for bulk storage. Now the question is, how do you define? Now the EWM consultants will know this answer again. This question is for the people who have not worked in EWM. How do you define that this storage type is a bulk storage type? Where exactly? It's the storage behavior control, right? So that is where we are maintaining whether it's a bulk storage type, whether it's a pallet storage type, whether it's a flexible storage type, right? So within bulk storage type, we will have, so the moment you define it as a bulk storage type, it will populate over here. So if you want to do the put away for partial quantity, if you want to put away blockage indicator, I mean, through that you can, there is a particular functionality I will show you tomorrow. There's a transaction. You can do the blocking, unblocking through that transaction, unblocking through that transaction, and you can do unblocking through EWM monitor as well. But for that transaction to be active, you need to activate this checkbox for bulk. Okay. So this is one. And after that, you define the bulk storage indicator. This bulk storage indicator basically is again being mapped to the EWM product master. And in the EWM product master, you are mapping it. Why? Because you want the system to understand that this particular product is a bulk product, and it's from this level, it will go and check what is the combination, or what is, how many pallets I can store within a particular combination. So the first identifier for it is the bulk storage indicator, which you maintain over here. Okay. So within put away control. So within put away control, you'll see over here. Let's see what are the bulk storage indicators. Y1 and Y2. Y1 is stack height 1 level. Y2 is stack height 2 levels. Okay. So basically that what it means is that so stacking means is, if I'm storing, like suppose like this, so this is one stack, this layer. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 pallets. Okay. And if I'm doing 2 stacks, so it will be another stack over this. Okay, so this is 2 levels. No. So the bulk structure over here is just to control how many stacks you are maintaining the combination and the maximum handling units. So this is like basically a capacity control, you can say. Or you're telling the system while doing the put away, how many you can, how many HUs. Say for example, over here, 1710. So if you see over here, for this particular storage type, Y041, this bin type, YB01, this HU type, YN01, this bulk storage indicator, Y1, stacks is 4 and height is 1. So the maximum number of HUs is 4 multiplied by 1 equals to 4. So this is a multiplier basically, stacks and stacking height. So over here, if you see, so basically it is this one. Let's assume that this one is not there. So only this part is there. So this part, that means this is like 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 stacks, and the level is just 1. So 4 into 1, so that is maximum 4 HUs I can store in this. So this is what I'm defining in the bulk structure. So because there might be, this is just one storage type, right? There might be another storage type over here as well. Who knows? This depends on the layout of the warehouse, right? So I can have multiple, or I worked in a project where majority of the items are in, majority of the storage types are only bulk storage type. In France, one of my projects in France. So the majority of the storage types are bulk storage types. So then it's like open parking. So in that case, you will have to, obviously you will maintain the sequence, and that sequence will be, then after you hit the sequence, then it will try to see on based on this combination, the different combinations, how many HUs it can store. Because some of the now, say for example, HU type is same. Okay, HU type is YN01 and YN01 is equal to Euro pallet. Let's say for example, but the material is a different material which is on the heavier side. So I will create a separate bulk storage indicator for that and map it to that product. And then this will be maximum HU will be only 1, say for example. Okay, the stacks are 1 and this is 1. So that means I can only store 1 HU. So the system will go and check after putting 1 HU, next time an inbound delivery comes, it will not push me to this. So it will try to see if there are any empty bins. If not, then it will just stop me. It will say that no more empty bins. System cannot determine the destination data while creating the put away warehouse task. That is the error you will get. So with this, this particular bulk structure, this table is also important. Actually, it is T337B. If you work on projects having this table will have the maximum number of entries having bulk structures.